And so you knew throughout this corporate career it wasn't a fit for you. What was that moment where you realized, I cannot handle it anymore, I want to go into entrepreneurship or move out of this environment that you were in?
I did not know, and that moment never really came.
Wow.
So I'll surprise you with that answer.
Yeah.
I did not know. So I had spent the first 15 years of my career feeling like a little bit of a loser, even though I was ascending rapidly.
Yeah.
And even though I felt like I had met some of my ridiculously fake, superficial objectives, my dad had ingrained this idea in my head that I have to become a CEO before the age of 40. I made it. I became the CEO of something before I turned 40. But despite that, I would feel like a loser because what got me there was the most ridiculously jagged career path. It wasn't a straight path. It was job losses, firings, discomfort, jumping around, right? So all of that made me feel weird. It made me feel like I'm not as good as my friends who have these very smooth, straight line paths. But it never made me realize that I wasn't made for it.
Yeah.
It didn't. I realized that in retrospect. Also, I never had a moment where I said, well, I better get out of this and go build my own stuff because that's the only way I'm going to survive.
Yeah.
The idea of creating my first business came very, very organically. It did come during a time when I wasn't working because I did lose my first CEO job when I tried to buy the company I was running.
Yeah.
Back to being autistic, I was so uncomfortable with the owners of the business and the stuff they were doing to the business that I rallied my entire executive team. We came down to Bay Street, raised a bunch of money, and walked into the family that owned the business and said, sell it to us.
Yeah.
We want to buy it. Well, that's a bit of a binary offer, right? If you say to somebody who owns a company that you're the CEO of, either you're going to succeed or you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
And in my case, the latter happened. So I'm sitting in my backyard, licking my wounds, thinking, what am I going to do next? And I didn't actually say, I'm never going to get a job again. Instead, what I said was, I am dying to explore this idea.
Yeah.
And it happened to be an idea around building a climate change related business. And so I did that, but I didn't do it because I was making a conscious decision to get away from the corporate world. It was totally opportunistic and organic.
Do you look at entrepreneurship and being entrepreneurial as two different things? Or can you be an entrepreneur without necessarily being a CEO of a company and still have those entrepreneurial traits and characters?
So funny you should ask this because lately I've been very unfiltered about a comment I make to young entrepreneurship students that I coach at a couple of universities. And what I say to them is, don't try to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Let yourself become an entrepreneur if the right thing hits you in the head.
Yeah.
It's become almost a little too fashionable these days,
absolutely.
right? Entrepreneurship is the new thing, right? And so you get all these kids in business schools who just, their only career objective is to become entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I think that's actually scary, and I think that's actually wrong. You can't force it. If you stumble across the right problem that you're fixing for the world, and if you happen to be the guy with the best idea, the best mousetrap that nobody else has invented, then go chase it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you should be doing. But don't fixate on becoming an entrepreneur at all costs.
Yeah.
Because that could actually wreck your career.
That's I think I went to school in the Kitchener-Waterloo region, and going to studying in that region, I definitely went through my undergrad thinking that if I didn't I set myself a goal that by my fourth year of my undergraduate degree, if I didn't pitch at one of these pitch competitions for funding with some idea, that was something on my list I was working towards. And I never had a question about, okay, is it an idea I'm passionate about? Is it something that I genuinely think is filling a gap in the world? It was just like, no, this is it. Everyone around me is doing it. And I think that's a really important message to young entrepreneurs, because then you see so many startups getting so much money for things and problems that they haven't even fully thought about, and that's super problematic.
Well, one of the things we say to I do something similar at Ivy, the Ivy School of Business, and one of the things we say to the students who come to the pitch competitions is, we will be just as proud of you if you pitch us a complete idea and a business plan, and at the end of your pitch you say, because of what you just heard, we will not pursue this, right? We actually congratulate them for deciding against pursuing a bad idea. There's nothing wrong with that, right? There's way more bad ideas in the world than there is good ideas, which is why the ratio of failures in entrepreneurship is always going to be very high. The vast majority of businesses that get started don't go anywhere. That's okay.
How many bad ideas did you have before you landed on Green Rewards?
I don't want to say this because I mean, honestly, none.
Yeah.